Boys, it is back. That's right, the DLE Power Rankings for Duel Links. Now, as you guys know, the overall tournaments in the scene has greatly reduced, so weekly power rankings, they're just not something that we can do and get accurate data from. So instead, we're giving them the old Master Duel treatment and doing monthly power rankings to see what the top 5 decks of every single month is. Post a major box release. So all of this data that we have here is after the latest box, not the structure. You know, obviously there's only been one event since the structure, but all of this data is going to be post the big box, so that had the new DD stuff, the fur hire, all of that stuff in there included. This does not include the most latest GG Tour tournament that we just had, since technically it came under a new structure, so that's when we started the new line, especially since there's probably going to be a new box anyway coming right afterwards. But this is in May, between that big major box release. All that info will be here presented for you guys. I'm sorry for the slow amount of updates. I'll talk about that at the end of the video rather than beginning, so definitely make sure to stick around towards the end for information on that. So let's get into it. Power rankings. How are we doing it now? The big changes. There are a lot more single elimination tournaments out there, and obviously there's still the big Swiss tournaments, especially the GG Tours. How are we weighing the points now? Well, they're a little bit different now. First place in a single elim worth 4 points, second place 2 points, third, fourth 1 point each. Swiss, first 6, second, fourth, third, fourth 2, and then fifth to eighth is 1 point. So single elimination, basically you have to end at a much higher level, just because there's more disqualifications and more people just not showing up later in the rounds in the single elimination. So we don't want any skewed points just due to people just not showing up for their games. The tournaments that we'll be going over will be the GG Tour / DLE Showdown events number 24-25, Battle Phases 386 and 387, Meta Weekly 226, 227, Meta Freakly 146, 147, and the Latin Pro 17. If you guys know any tournaments that are single elim or Swiss, make sure to come into the Discord, share them with us, and we'll be more than happy to put that data onto the power rankings. We do not mind. 5th place, oh my goodness, DeskBots. Holy shit. Who is playing DeskBots? Devs is apparently playing DeskBots with his champion of Meta Freakly number 146 example deck list. Overall 11, top 4 8s, 4 of them, conversion rate 0.36. 1 first place, 2 top 4s, and a top 8 finish. DeskBots are, they're a deck, man. They've got new support. Obviously, the base makes them a lot more consistent. They also have a new special summonable monster that destroys back row. There's not much to say about this deck. It's a lot of back row control with a lot of battle. Most of the deck happens during the battle phase, right? So if you don't have a deck that can handle attack points very well, that's when they tend to kind of show up and and dominate. It is pretty funny that they were able to make a top 5 finish in terms of competitive tournaments, but there you go, man. The Melodious Slayers themselves able to finally get onto the top 5 list. Moving onwards, we've got Burning Abyss. Now, Burning Abyss, they don't get a whole lot of respect in the community. You know, a lot of people like to meme on them, me included. You know, I do think they're an extremely slow deck, and slow is not my style. I get extremely bored when facing said decks, but I mean, it's interesting. So look at the conversion rate. The conversion rate is really garbojo at a 0.09%. 4 top 4s, top 8s. Overall, 45 people entered with them, but 2 first place finishes and 2 more top 8s. That was the ultimate deciding factor in getting Scion Piles, champion of Latam Pro Series number 17. He was able to get the Burning Abyss onto that 4th place position. There's always like 1 or 2 people that go far with this deck, man. I'm telling you, this is that slow deck, the ritual beast of the format, right? Where it's like 1 or 2 people are going to perform very well with them because the nature of slow decks, the nature of back row, heavy back row, Kiteroid decks is people can misplay into them. That's just kind of the nature of them. It frustrates your opponent to the point where you misplay, and then they end up placing higher than they probably should, because by all accounts, there's nothing inherently extremely strong by this deck, but the fact that it's slow, the fact that it's able to play all these back row and these hand traps, and of course back row is always going to be good in Duel Links. Back row is the king of Duel Links. It has always been the king of Duel Links. It'll always have one of these kind of slow decks end up in the top 5, in my opinion. We'll see if that happens next month for Burning Abyss. That conversion rate, though, holy cannoli, let's keep that in mind as we move forward. Obviously, a lot more players, so you can't totally blame that on them. Third place, we have Gandora. Gandora was actually a deck that was missing from yesterday's GG Tour tournament with only one person managing to top. So it'll be interesting to see if they can maintain their third place position, just like Ryu Zane was able to do here. Overall, 7 entries, 8 top 4s, top 8s, 0.11 conversion rate. So it's not that great, but it's there. First place, second place, one first place, a bunch of second places, a bunch of top 4s, a bunch of top 8s. Gandora, I feel like, is kind of the gatekeeper of the current meta that we're in. It plays, obviously it plays every hand trap in the game. It feels like sometimes. I think the only thing not pictured here is the White Princess, which they all play it. They also have pretty much brought enemy controller into the metagame on their own. You barely see TTH anymore these days. You're mostly seeing Econ, and it's because of Gandora. They don't necessarily ever feel like they're the best deck of the metagame, but they definitely warp the metagame at the same time. They're kind of like the new gatekeepers, if you will, of the metagame. You must be this strong, stronger than Gandora, to enter the metagame, or at least within its, respective level of play. Gandora, third place, 21 points. Not bad, not bad. Moving on, we have Eyes Pendulum. Overall, 63 entries, 15 top 4s and 8s with a 0.24 conversion rate. What's crazy about the Eyes Pendulum deck is it is expensive, right? You can see there's actually more people that play Gandora, a little bit more than ultimately Eyes. But Eyes is really, really strong. I feel like if it had even more people, if it was more accessible to people, which I think we're starting to see a little bit here as more and more people, I guess, save up gems to be able to buy the deck, we're seeing it do better and better and better every single event. It actually got 2 top 4s, I believe, in yesterday's GG Tour. It didn't make it to the finals, but 2 top 4s is still very respectable, in my opinion, with a 0.24 conversion rate, 32 points, multiple first wins, 1 second, multiple top 4s, and multiple top 8s. This deck's insane, man. The second Donkey / Joker combo makes you extremely consistent. It is very rare that you see this deck brick. And if it does break, it can at least, end on a board that still has, even like the Magician, the Light Magician negate can be very relevant. Not in every matchup, but in some matchups can be very relevant to get that extra light negation in there. Again, you see the enemy controller. It's fully on because of Gandora. Overall, fantastic deck. If you guys want to see how to play this deck, come definitely watch the live stream, twitch.tv /DLE Yugioh. A lot of people are playing this deck, and they're playing it to extremely good results. So there you go. And then we have the first place deck. Look at that conversion rate. The conversion rate for first place is always just absolutely garbage because everyone plays it. Not everyone does well with them. 140 entries compared to the 63 and 70 from before. Nearly double the next highest deck. It is actually double the next highest deck with 13 top 4s and top 8s. But a lot of first ones. They even won yesterday's GG Tour as well. DDD. The points are pretty close between DDD and Eyes, and I do think that is accurate, if I'm being completely honest with you. Zagagaga, champion of the meta freakly here. Forgot to mention Junhino, of course, the Eyes champ as well. Yeah, DDD, what is there to say about them? They gave them insane support with the latest box release. This list doesn't actually have that much. We do see DD Dog and we see the Xseed monster in the extra deck. But of course, even having that tribute and then banish effect from the Doom King Armageddon, the new Doom King Armageddon, is very, very strong. This deck's just super consistent. Having triple Kepler, triple Gate that pretty much gets you into your full combo is insane. If you happen to have the Gian Coach, GN Stop Coaching. From the selection box, you are able to draw into so many of your techs, Econs, TTHs, Book of Moons, Cosmics, whatever you need is at your disposal if you want those cards. So it's just one of those decks that just spams out a whole bunch of monsters, goes into the extra decks, draws as many cards as they possibly need. And I think it's hard to argue that it's not the best deck of the format. I guess you could argue that maybe Odd Eyes has a little bit more explosive potential behind it. But in terms of consistency, man, I got to give it to DDD. This deck is consistently doing well, consistently topping, consistently winning tournaments. You love to see it. Something a little new, we got the top 8 conversion rates and all the decks that we had kind of on this list. I know a lot of people are going to be asking about, Phantom Knights. Phantom Knights do actually have a decent conversion rate. They just don't really win as many tournaments. You really need to at least win a tournament, get that first place finish to earn enough points to end up as a top 5 deck. But you can see the Phantom Knight conversion's actually right under the Gandora conversion to the top 8 specifically. Odd Eyes actually converted very well in May to top 8. Phantom Knights were actually in the top 2 in the last GG tour. So a lot of people are going to be, curious about that because they're going to be saying, well, okay, well, what about Phantom Knights? Shouldn't they be a top 5 deck? The thing is, though, even if you included the last GG tour results, that was the only Phantom Knight, and it was in the top 2. The rest of the Phantom Knights did not convert to top 8 at all. So it wouldn't even have added that many points to the Phantom Knight archetype to bring them in line with the rest of the top 5 decks. So fun facts to keep in mind. But other than that, Odd Eyes, DDD, really good conversion rates. Gandora with a really good conversion rate. I don't know if yesterday was an exception to the rule or if that's how it's always going to look. But in May, in general, they had a pretty good conversion rate. Burning Abyss, good. DeskBots, good. Melodious with 4% isn't that bad. My Yosenju, 3%. I think it's like one player, Yosenju, and then other. You got all the other decks that have shown up in top 8. Magnets, Metal Foes. I know a lot of people are going to have questions about Metal Foes. I'm sorry, guys. Metal Foes, they're just not good in a best-of-3 format. So, there you go. And that is pretty much it for Power Rankings May. Thank you guys so much for watching. Again, I'm sorry for the slow updates. I'm trying to churn out some more quality content rather than, rushed, not so much quality content because I want to try something new with the YouTube and really try to put in more effort into every video, not every video, but like 90% of videos after we kind of reach a certain viewer mileage per month. So hopefully you endure with these slower updates, slower, more quality updates. If you have any video ideas, definitely leave them down in the comments down below. Let me know what you guys think of the top 5 decks. I love you so much. Till next time.